the farm families of Cabot Cooperative are happy to be stuck in Vermont. Welcome to Stuck in Vermont, brought to you by 7 Days. My name's Ava Solberger, and behind me is the Burlington International Airport, which is owned by the city of Burlington, but is located in South Burlington. In the last 20 years, the airport has had quite a growth spurt, thus increasing the noise level for the many residents who live next to the airport.
It's taking off right now. It's going to be right there.
So does the noise in living here, does the noise bother you?
Only those F-16s.
Bob McEwing, and I'm the interim director of aviation at the Burlington International Airport. We're sensitive to the fact that those people that live close to the airport are impacted by the airport and the airport noise. We understand that. And so we're trying to do what we can to mitigate that noise. And one of the strategies has been to acquire properties in that 65 DNL and above on a volunteer basis.
But not everyone is selling. And for the people who stay, they are faced with living in a neighborhood that has become almost like a ghost town.
Sad to see all the houses go.
There is no neighborhood. It's gone. No, it's all right. I mean, we have no neighbors now.
It's like living in a no man's zone. It's like you feel almost like, well, we're refugees in the airport section of South Burlington because nobody knows what's happening to it.
Yeah, it becomes like a little Detroit or Flint, Michigan or something where it's just like, it looks like a dead neighborhood.
And it's been here since 1928. And has grown both in size and in activity. You know, we've had fairly consistent growth that really, if you want to call it, took off in about 2000, about the time that JetBlue came here. With JetBlue, all of a sudden, things started to take off. The other airlines lowered their fares, things got competitive. We started marketing in Canada. Canadians realized that this was a good place to fly out of. Consistently, we have about 50 departures a day with air carrier flights that are going primarily to the hub airports. We're what they call an O&D airport. That means that people originate here and they end up here, origination and destination. You can fly one stop to almost any place in the country.
I was just thinking about like other airports like Albany, Iowa City, Oakland. They tend to be sort of far away from the house.
Well, we were far away at one time. It started to grow. And I think the real growth spurt took place in the early '60s when they built a lot of the houses right across the street from the airport. And certainly, some people like to live near an airport. Some people don't. I can't explain that rationale. Because remember, everybody moved in here.
David Bouffard, I live at 65 Dumont Ave.
And tell me about what it was like when you first lived here.
It was a neighborhood. There's a bunch of kids running around. We grew up here. All my friends, every one of these houses had kids. And this house right here, not this one, but the one after, is like where we played all of our wiffle balls. This is where every kid in the neighborhood, there's 25 kids here. It was our old scoreboard.
Is that hard seeing?
Yeah, it's sad. It sucks.
I'm Carmen Sargent, and I've lived here since 1972, moving here when my daughter Kara was 1 year old, and then Abby was born into this house.
It didn't feel like an urban neighborhood. Like, it didn't feel like part of Burlington. It felt like we were like right on the border between town and country.
It was a wonderful neighborhood for children because every family had kids. They would play in the street. It was just a nice place. It was and it doesn't feel like that now. It feels like something's happened to it.
So the Federal Aviation Administration has promised the airport $5 million in funding to purchase the homes that are within the 65 decibel noise level zone surrounding the airport.
And it sort of shows with 65 DNL noise contours here.
And all of the relocating houses are in South Burlington, is that correct?
All in South Burlington, all primarily in this area across the street from the airport. They get the most impact from both air and ground noise.
Hi, I'm Matt Harding. I'm the Airport Facilities Foreman at the Burlington International Airport.
How many properties would you say you are in charge of right now?
The ones in the project, there's approximately 60. So you see a lot of these houses that right along here in front of the airport, and these are all the ones with the permits in the window are the ones we own.
We'll be advertising first for homes to be moved, and then for homes to be deconstructed or demolished depending on the condition of the homes.
Actually, somebody came and looked at this house and was very interested in moving it.
As we try and get the homes moved first, and we've had minimal success, but we've had 7 homes that were actually relocated. Then we've had several homes where the materials were good enough so they were deconstructed.
We have them all tested for lead paint, and asbestos, and all that stuff is actually abated before any of the demo goes through. So here we have a great little house that's available for somebody to pick up and move out of here. You know, it is interesting walking into some of these houses and, you know, getting ready to prepare them to be deconstructed or demoed, and knowing that this was somebody's home with some time. And, you know, you even see places, you know, there's a bulletin board in the basement and there's the whole family, you know, a couple generations on that board. And it was somebody's house, you know, and it's a little weird going in there for the first time and getting it locked up and secured. I talked to a lot of people that are happy with the program. I know there's one guy who's ready to retire in a couple years, and he's going to get an RV and live in Florida and come back here in the summer. And the fact that the airport's buying the house it's the greatest thing for him, you know. And then you talk to some people that were here for 30 some odd years right on this street, and they really didn't want to go.
So what do you even call this neighborhood?
Abandoned land. It's just a free-for-all for everybody. They just come and steal all night. Cars drive up and down the street stealing.
There's certainly areas we still need to work on, but for the most part, we're making a huge effort to make sure all these places are well maintained and kept up and safe and secure.
We actually had to call them up to get them to mow the lawns. And now there's you'll see random people just pull in driveways, dig up plants, and take off with them.
There's 5 maintenance guys, and there's 3 guys mowing and doing the grounds work.
How does that many people manage to check on these houses every day and keep vandals at bay and squatters?
It's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge. We've never really had any problems with anyone squatting. If somebody has a concern, like there's a mess, or they say, you know, we think somebody's been messing around in this property, I go right over and check it out and make sure. And if there's something up, then I always let South Burlington PD know. You know, I just try to respond to anyone's request as quick as I can.
So in your mind, once it's green space, it's going to be better for the whole neighborhood?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's all well maintained. We mow it. We take good care of it. This is where we've removed 2 houses, this green space here.
And also, once you take the houses down, that might change.
It might change the noise characteristics a little bit, but the 65 DNL line, is created as if there's no homes there to begin with. Okay.
And we'll go down this other road here. This is a road that's almost been completely through the program. But you can see this road had houses all the way down it, and they've all been removed. This is what's left. This is the green space. This is Dumont Avenue, and we own a lot of properties here, you can see. We've also taken some houses down right here, and you can see this yard is really well maintained. These are all slated for demo. You know, will be taken down as soon as that permit goes.
But everyone else that's currently on the street is staying. They're not going anywhere until they're forced. Because my kids go to Cherry School. It's a great elementary school. That's where I went. All my teachers are there.
Listen, some people don't want to leave, and I respect that greatly. And for the most part, they're people that have lived here for years and years. They're elderly, they may be in their 80s, maybe in their 90s. 2 instances where people are in their 90s. They don't want to leave. We don't want them to leave. You know, that's their home.
Is it important to the airport to be good neighbors?
We try to be. And I know some people say we're not communicating enough, and you know, we have a website and we have an email address where people can send in questions or comments or concerns.
They're very bad neighbors, and they don't give a, and I know you're filming, they don't give a shit what happens to the rest of us. They really don't.
They tell you one thing, and then when it comes time to do it, it's something totally different.
They have not been good stewards of what they're doing. They have not engaged any of us in any conversations. We're just told what's going to happen. Part of the problem is that it's owned by a community that doesn't have any personal impact. As a community, they don't have an impact from this airport.
The future for this area will change with the future demands, okay? I don't know what those future demands will be, but we've developed a master plan that goes through what we call Vision 2030, goes through the next 20 years. And that 65 DNL line is basically across here, okay? And it shows a lot of green space because we intend there to be a lot of green space. What would go in that green space? So one of the things I envision, you know, I'm just one person and I have certain ideas, but I'd like to see a berm down through there, maybe 30 feet high.
And I think it's very unfortunate for people like me that live here because I think this is impacting what I could get out of my property that I've invested 40 years of my life into. And I feel more stuck than most people because, as I said, my house is handicapped accessible for my daughter. And I feel like to duplicate that is an investment that I've already made in this property.
What do you see down the road? What's the
for the airport?
For this airport?
Well, it's going to continue to grow. I hope it continues to grow because it's a very vibrant part of the economic strength of this area. People are flying in, they're renting cars, and then they're traveling throughout the state. So we want to encourage that as part of our economic well-being for the state.
It'll be interesting to see what the future holds for this neighborhood in flux as the airport continues to grow and expand and the neighborhood continues to change alongside it. We'll get stuck around with you again real soon.
So what about all these beautiful lilacs and stuff? What's going to happen to them?
I heard they were going to talk about getting a committee together to move them to public spaces throughout South Burlington.
Because I seriously wanted to go and move some lily of the valleys. There's a whole patch of them. Nice.
I've chased a few people out of there and they're like, we're just grabbing the shrub.
You take 1,200 farm family owners, plus every major award for taste, plus fresh, all-natural, premium ingredients, crafted with a lot of love and pride. What do you get? A cheddar you can truly enjoy. For parties, favorite recipes, or you're just hungry. Cabot Cheddar from Vermont, voted best cheddar on the planet, time and time again.